one of the things that we've invested in here within Arcadis is people with computer scientists background, and these people are actually becoming enablers. So they're actually working with our engineering teams. They're building generative design platforms with our engineering teams to allow our engineers to be providing better solutions, more efficient solutions, more design iterations than they ever have before. So I think that's been something that we've seen being very successful, like to the point where we had a computer science background who no engineering experience whatsoever. So we threw him into the business and got him to work on a bridge on some developing a generative design calculation tool for bridge girders. He didn't know what a bearing was. He didn't know what a girder was. He now, so that was now three years ago. So he's learnt a hell of a lot working with our very experienced bridge, and I'll say our senior technical director level at our business, and they enjoy working with him because it makes their job easier. So I think that's a very good way of getting more, just increasing the pool of resources within our engineering industry. And I guess the second is design automation. So hard coders, developers, software developers. These are the guys that are the guys and girls that are connecting the data, reducing the amount of manual labour by making things more efficient, and that then's connected to our data analytics team. And how they're using and the skill sets within their data analytics, and working more closely with the design and automation team. So I think they're the people that are being the big disruptor at the moment to the engineering industry.
Hi, Stephen. Welcome to the Digital Construction Podcast. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you going?
Very, very good. So in this episode, we speak with Stephen Coyle, who is the National Digital Lead at Arcadis. We will talk about the realities of digital transformation in engineering. We have many topics to cover, from what Stephen thinks about IP or intellectual property to who are the people that are actually leading the digital transformation. This is a very interesting topic we discussed in preparation for this episode. I'm very, very excited for this episode. But before we start, Stephen, I have a quick question for you. What is the best piece of advice you have ever received in your career?
Oh, wow. I've received lots of advice. Some I've taken, some I haven't. I guess there's probably two that sticks out to me that I kind of always consider. Take advantage of every opportunity that comes to you, but then consider the worst case scenario, so you can come back from that. So that's one thing that I've always considered, and it's kind of got me to where I am today. There's been a lot of opportunities I have professionally and personally. The other one is, it could probably be a little bit controversial, but be really confident in dealing with situations, and don't be scared to back someone in the corner, but be ready when they come out swinging. So basically, back yourself, but be ready for those challenging conversations, all those problems, or those issues that might come out. So arm yourself with what you need, either from a capability or a capacity perspective.
Yeah, that's great. And Stephen, you are in a really good position at Arcadis to share with us what's going on in the digital transformation. But before we start, I would like to ask you, can you start giving us a bit of a snapshot of your role and the role of the digital team that you lead at Arcadis?
Sure. So I basically, you can summarize it. I'm accountable for standardization and automation for design and engineering within our Australian business. That's also starting to creep into our other parts, like our finance team and our legal team, to try and make them a little bit more efficient at the moment. Look, I work with a variety of internal stakeholders within Arcadis. That could be our business leads, it could be our operation leads, our service and solution leads, and that's so we have a good, consistent, integrated approach either to our projects and or to our pursuits or opportunities. I have a small team that report to me. They are web developers, computational designers, generative designers, software development, and information management. So they're accountable for all over Australia. And also I have people that indirectly report to me because I think, and that's our digital engineering leads. And I think why they indirectly report to me, because it's important from our business perspective, it's important that they remain inside their relative businesses, like infrastructure, our buildings, our urban development, our MEP, et cetera, et cetera. So that's really important that they be part of that business. But my job is to help get consistency through our delivery and make sure they remain integrated because, these days, a lot of urban development guys and girls work on infrastructure projects, and infrastructure projects, a lot of guys and girls work on places, our buildings projects. So it's really important that we have that consistency.
Yeah, that's great. It's always very interesting to understand how the team is structured.
Yeah.
And I speak with many digital leaders, and one of the interesting points is how do they balance the client-facing time that they spend versus the billable activities? Like, what's the right balance from your point of view, and how do you balance these two different activities to stay relevant as a digital leader?
That's a really good question. Balance is a good word. Look, at the end of the day, we work on projects, but our clients pay us money. We deliver those projects. I prioritize client-facing work. It's as simple as that. The reason why I prioritize that is it's part of our business strategy, global, but also our national business strategy to be doing more more technical advisory type work, more client-facing work. And this relates to either projects that we're delivering. We can actually see opportunities with our clients, and our clients invite us in to help with that. So for a number of reasons, I really enjoy solving clients' problems. I really enjoy that part of it. And if we can use this as a leverage to get to build a team around that to help that, then look, it makes everything easy. It also you use the word relative. I need to stay relative within our business and within the industry as well. The only way I can do that is to stay connected to our clients and to our projects. So I will prioritize the more client side work.
Yeah, definitely. And another interesting aspect of working for a company like Arcadis is that Arcadis is a company that operates globally.
Yeah.
So you have offices all around the world, and I wonder, like, how do you manage and align digital tools and standard and all of the innovation across all of the different regions and different teams?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we're 36,000 people globally. But in terms of that standardization alignment, I put it down to one word, and that's accountability. So we have people accountable for platforms, solutions. We've got product owners for each of the platforms or solutions that are developed. And Arcadis developed a platform that anyone in Arcadis can go into to have a look at those particular products that we've developed. And those products are developed through acquisitions or other things that we have developed ourselves. And Australia have developed two of those tools. But anyone in Arcadis can sit there and go, I've got this problem on. It could be a transport planning problem. Let's have a look at some of the solutions around this that's being developed, and you can see who the product owner is. A bit more information around client testimonials. How can we scale this, and who's accountable within it? There could be someone accountable within our region that we can just go and talk to, or if there's information that's been included within a tender or used on a project, we can actually go and get that. But it comes back to that one word, accountability. So it's really important now, because now more than ever, we can see there's a bit of there's not a lot of work in Australia at the moment. So we have a number of Australians working on projects in the US and Canada, And this is why it's important to have that consistency globally, because we're all starting to work on these international projects. And how can we scale blueprints or initiatives that we've worked with either with our vendors and or with other people that we can then bring into those other countries. So yeah, it's that accountability, mate. It's just that we need to make sure that we've got someone driving that.
Yeah, you certainly need to have a complex structure to maintain that at the global level.
Look, I think it is, but again, to make it easier around, we just try and make it easier who are the right people to talk to. If that's too hard to work out, then we don't have the right structure in place, and we need to work out rather than like one thing I don't like is what we call magic time. Are people developing solutions or tools in their own time? That it needs to be recognized. It needs to be we need to measure it, etc. So it's really important that we have that we can join people together easily. That's a key thing, and that I guess that's part of my role in Australia as well. That if people see something globally, I can then help direct other people in our business to be. I don't want to be a blocker. I think I'm more of a filter, if you like. I'll try and connect the right people to other people globally. If I see an opportunity where something's been developed really well somewhere, well, I'll connect those people to the Australian business.
Yeah, that's great. And one of the topics I know you have a very strong opinion about is IP, intellectual property. And I also know that many teams really stress a lot about it because, to be fair, it's very valuable. But what's your position about IP? What do you think about it?
It's I could talk all day to this. Like being involved in, I've been involved in major infrastructure projects all around Australia. I've been with Arcadis for almost 10 years, and it's been giving me opportunities to have almost like auditing roles, information management roles to help projects. And one thing that I can see is that people go, well, I've developed this awesome solution, but you can't have it. But then you look back on it a year later, and I was like, well, what happened to that awesome solution? So I guess I think IP dies very, very easily. I think, what's cool today is old tomorrow, and I think that's part of the, I guess the digital technologies or landscape is that. And this is probably our own fault that we don't often look back and go, how good was that? We should celebrate that. How did that help us increase efficiency, reduce risk, et cetera, et cetera? So I guess we need to. I think we need to be a little bit more relaxed when it comes to JV. I know at Arcadis we've got a lot of tools that we bring into our projects, and we do a lot of joint venturing on our major infrastructure projects, and we'll sit there with our JV partners and our contracts and say, look, we've got these tools that are associated with BIM authoring tools or information management tools, and we've just developed a new tool around data validation. And we've got disclaimers on those that we basically, you can use these. There are Arcadis property, but you can use them and go for your life. So we feel that we're quite open in terms of other organisations to be able to use these, and I think we need to be like that, right? We can't have a closed mind to IP. I guess the other part of this is as well is I have regular conversations with people in similar roles at our competitors, right? I think that's really, really important that we stay aligned and we know what's going on, right? And I think it's by having these conversations, just discussing what's happening in the industry. Are we aligned with what our vendors are doing? Are we aligned where technology is going? Because this also provides an opportunity to develop solutions together. There's industry bodies, there's other organisations that we should be working with. So I guess I think what I'm trying to say is that we need to be working together with the industry that they're to be developing these solutions. But I don't think we need to be sharing it for us to move forward.
Yeah, definitely.
If we don't share, then we're not going to move forward. We can't measure. We can't measure how those solutions have helped us save time, reduce risk, provide a better design solution, et cetera, et cetera. So we need to be more open.
Yeah, you touch a good point on JVs because they are probably the projects where innovation is more valuable because they tend to be larger projects.
Correct. Yeah, I think and I guess probably better opportunity as well. So but the hard part about that is they're big projects, right? And so there's lots of senior stakeholders, and then you deal with steering committees, et cetera, et cetera. So I think there's an opportunity there I've seen some steering committees where there's been some sort of digital leadership. I think we need to consider having that, someone that can look a little bit outside the square in terms of some of these problems that could be occurring or issues that could be occurring on projects where it could be a different type of solution.
Yeah, just to play devil's advocate, the other side of the coin is that people may think that you're sharing knowledge, you're giving up your tools. So how do we balance this? Like good intent is sharing knowledge with also maintaining a competitive edge in the industry.
Yeah, look, I think remaining competitive is tough. And I think first and foremost, in terms of where we are at Arcadis, all the solutions that we develop are associated with solving, number one is solving a client's problem or providing a really good solution to an opportunity or pursuit for an upcoming project. The second thing, does it align with our strategy? Is what we're doing aligning with our national strategy? Does it align with that? Then, okay, that's cool. I mean, I can see some of our competitors developing solutions and investing in other things that Arcadis are not, and that's cool. But that's just not part of our strategy. That's not part where we want to go. We have 3-year strategy cycles. We're almost coming up to the end of our current strategy cycles. Everything that we're doing now remains aligned to that. What does our next one look like? I'm not sure. Do we always have a look and see what our competitors are doing? Absolutely, we do. And going back to what I said in my previous point, I stay connected to our competitors to make sure, to see what they're doing while they're aligning. Like I see AECOM heavily invested in a new AI organization in Scandinavia. That's something that's been part of their strategy for 6 months. They've been looking at that for a while. So that's where they're going. We've also got a strategy around AI as well, but it's a little bit different to that. So you can see, I think we remain competitive by entrusting that the leadership around our global and national strategy, basically.
Yeah, definitely. And another interesting point is around the term of digital advisory and the debate around this word and what does that really mean? And what's the difference between digital advisory and generally solving a client's problem? What do you think about that?
Yeah, look, I think, that's another good topic, advisory. I think over the past few years, I've had the opportunity to go into many client offices, and often I'm kind of a little bit disturbed by seeing solutions, and I can see almost like rinse and repeat solutions that have been offered by other organisations. And I think it kind of the unfortunate thing I see, it kind of paints digital as a bit of a negative. Costs more money, it's going to take longer to implement, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's almost like a bit of a dirty word. So I think, and more often not, these organisations do talk to each other, and unfortunately, some of these organisations do get found out. I guess we're all developing as humans to be increasing our digital capabilities, and that increases every day. Mine increases every day by talking to clients, talking to internal stakeholders, and then working with my team. I believe that the only way you innovate is to collaborate. That's the big thing that I that's a big one of my mantras that I firmly believe, and that co-development could be with a client. So I think so. I try not to use the term digital advisory. I try to break down the client's issues, and I'm working with a client at the moment, and I found out that they've we've called it a digital advisory. We worked out it was just an information management problem. So we're working on an information management process based upon certain investments they've made in technology and how we can help increase efficiencies, make sure people within the organisation have better access to data, etc. So I think it's generally got to be generally solving a client's problem.
Yeah, definitely. And what advice would you give to our teams when we encourage them to stay focused on real outcomes, right? Not just the digital rhetoric. So what advice would you give them to help them stay focused?
I guess, and this is the hard part. To stay focused is to really, really make sure that we're asking the right questions of these organizations, or these people. Do we really understand the underlying issues? And that takes time. It takes making sure that we are connected to the right type of people that are accountable for certain things within the organization. Who's accountable for investments in technology? Who's accountable for processes? Who's accountable for key decision making? Once you've got those people in the room, then you can sit there and go, well, how do you do that? How do you do that? And then do that. So a lot of our clients always considering, I need to fix this at the end here. This is what we need to fix. But we find it's always a start. So you always got to reverse engineer items. So I guess in summary, it's just making sure that you stay connected with the right people, that are accountable, making key decisions.
And at the beginning of this episode, I mentioned that we'll talk about who are the people that are actually leading this digital transformation. I know you have also a strong opinion about this one. Who are these people that are truly causing the disruption in the digital construction right now?
That's interesting. I'd say there's a few different types of people that or skills that are part of that disruption. One of the things that we've invested in here within Arcadis is people with computer scientists background, and these people are actually becoming enablers. So they're actually working with our engineering teams. They're building generative design platforms with our engineering teams to allow our engineers to be providing better solutions, more efficient solutions, more design iterations than they ever have before. So I think that's been something that we've seen being very successful, like to the point where we had a computer science background who had no engineering experience whatsoever. So we threw him into the business and got him to work on a bridge on some developing a generative design calculation tool for bridge girders. He didn't know what a bearing was. He didn't know what a girder was. He now so that was now three years ago. So he's learnt a hell of a lot working with our very experienced bridge, and I'll say our senior technical director level at our business, and they enjoy working with him because it makes their job easier. So I think that's a very good way of getting more, just increasing the pool of resources within our engineering industry. And I guess the second is design automation. So hard coders, developers, software developers. These are the guys that are the guys and girls that are connecting the data, that are reducing the amount of manual labor by making things more efficient, and that then's connected to our data analytics team and how they're using and the skill sets within their data analytics and working more closely with the design and automation team. So I think they're the people that are being the big disruptor at the moment to the engineering industry.
And do you think that the traditional engineers are adapting fast enough to this new landscape?
Oh, that's an interesting question, because I mentioned the senior technical directors. The senior technical directors have been in Arcadis for a long time, who this is a big step for them, right? This is a real big step for them to see this new and different way of working. So we need to empathize with these people and make sure that we truly can show how this is going to help them on a day-to-day basis. So those guys, so those people, it just requires a lot more integrated approach, showing a lot more around the metrics. I think that's one thing that the tools that we develop, we make sure that we measure how successful they are. So it's not just the stuff that we do. We actually do this because, hey, we know that Steve clicked this and he's used this, and he developed this. We know that using a traditional type of a process would have taken this long. It's now taken this long. We know how much time that saved. If we've got that on all of our tools. If we can showcase that to our senior technical directors, who are accountable for quality, and our technical quality, and QA, it becomes an easier argument. But we're seeing a lot of the younger, the new generation, their grads and postgrads, they're loving this new way of working. They're the ones challenging us, saying, "Oh, look at this tool, look at this," and this is what we want. We want to be challenged by those people. We want to sit there and go, "Well, yeah, okay, that's a really good tool, but this is the tool that we're investing in. Maybe we can work on this together." So, this is the thing we want to be challenged with this new generation.
And you just touched on metrics as a way to communicate value, but one of the also challenging points is, how do you actually define value when it comes to digital tool and processes?
That's defining value. Yeah, so value. Yeah, the number of people that report to me have a lower level of billability, because it's really important that so I've got to prove the value of what they're doing into the business. So the way that we showcase that value to our leadership team is those metrics, right? So we look at executions of tools. We can easily visualize that. That's also helping our team maintain the tools, and then actually you can see, well, why aren't people using the commands in these particular tools, but they're using these. So we would go into the users and say, hang on, why aren't you using these particular tools, but using these? They're like, well, we would prefer to do our workflow is more conducive to that than that. So we can then put metrics on how much time did that used to take? How much time used to take? How much time does it take now? We put a nominal value to that in terms of a cost rate of a standard Arcadian, and then we show that as a metric. Now that is live data. We've got that basically in the background consistently, so we can go into all the solutions that we've provided and be able to get live data when people have executed those tools. Then we can show that value and how that has helped us either save time or provide efficiency. I think the value is how will we use that time. So if we've saved time, how have we used that time? Has it allowed us to do a better design solution than we have previously? Have we been able to articulate that back to the client? Have we been able to do anything else? I think where I've seen this being really successful is a particular tool that we created in terms of the QA process of deliverables within ProjectWise and having automated emails and to proof checking and to external verification, where automatically generated emails, sent packages, etc., etc. Our quality manager at the time had 5 days a week. This was on, I think this was on we started working on this in the Coffs Harbour Bypass project. So 5 days a week, developing this new tool got him down to 1 day a week. So it was like, what does he do the other 4 days a week? Now, based off his skills and capabilities, he went on to help the geotech team who was struggling at the time just with capacity. So he went on to help with them. So he allowed them to go and help that team. So that's, to me, that's value. Yeah, that's extraordinary value that we've able to reutilize resources onto other parts of the projects.
Yeah, that's a great example. And one step before you actually produce a new digital tool, I think it comes probably down to prioritization, but what's the process for identifying which problems are worth solving digitally? Because I understand you have a limited amount of people in your team and probably a very large number of problems. So how do you pick the one?
Yeah, look, again, very good question. And it's something that we, because everyone's problems a priority. That's everyone's problems a priority. Now, we put it down to, so the way that we manage ideas and problems is that we have what we call an automation portal. Through those automation portal, you can submit an idea, and that idea could be a problem or it could be an opportunity. Our teams have got principles, automation principles, so they will do a bit of a discovery, and then from the initial discovery, with the person that looking for that solution and or opportunity, will then work out, okay, how much time is this going to take? And is it the team here, or should it go to one of our vendors, or should it go to someone in our office in India or Romania or Manila? So yeah, we break down the problem first in terms of how long is it going to take, and then if it is a big problem, like one of the big problems we had was around consistency in that data validation. Now, that's not an easy solution. We've been developing a tool now for 6 months on and off, but we plan around that. So that's a program of work that we have design sprints. But the number one priority is if there's a problem on a project, that's number one. That's a number one priority. Number two, opportunity for a pursuit or a tender. That's number two. And then number three is if there's only a short time taken to provide a solution for that, then that will be number three. But it needs to go through that. We need to go through that process where we have backlog. We look at that backlog every month, and if people come kicking and screaming, then that's a good business case for me to look at increasing the team. Then always looking forward as well. But at the moment, I think we've got a good balance in terms of prioritizing those solutions with our key projects, number one.
And sometimes if you want to solve a problem, you can also consider partnerships.
Correct.
What's your take on that? Like partnership with startups, software vendors, or potentially other consultants? What do you think about these partnerships?
Look, we've co-developed some solutions with Autodesk and Bentley. So we've been through that process. We started? Well, I don't think we've actually went down the startups yet. We've had a chat to a few different types of startups. Arcadis, there was a company called Nerickson. So globally, we invested. We got exclusivity for 1 or 2 years of a startup who are a dynamic testing drone company based in Canada. So that was a way to help initiate our digital approach to asset management. So that was something that we co-developed. So definitely open to that. And I think I would add to that as well, there's a lot of industry bodies that I think we should be doing more work with that is kind of a little bit disjointed. People like Consult Australia, Engineers Australia. I think there's a lot of work that we could be doing there as well around. I know Engineers Australia has some very good educational sessions on a regular basis, which is really good. I've been part of those. But I think there's opportunities there, especially with Consult Australia, to be doing something meaningful that's going to help provide a solution to the broader digital landscape on our with our projects. So yeah, I think it's important to co-develop with the people with the right capabilities.
Another aspect of digital engineering is data, right? So, and how fragmented it is. Like we have different software vendors, different disciplines. They all produce different types of data sets. And I think one of the challenges is how do you connect the data between deliverables and what does it look like in practice?
Yeah, that's something we're on our journey on that now. That's a good question. That's a really good comment. There's a lot of data that's produced that is not reused, and it's wasted. And that's one thing that we've got a program at the moment within Arcadis called Assured and Data Led, where our rail team have been doing this for a while, incorporating model-based systems engineering. What we're trying to what we have adopted, and we're trying to now scale this into other bigger projects, is being able to measure and visualize just constant progress on our projects. That could be earned value, that could be resource management, that could be how much time that Steve's billing to a project whilst working on this particular, why is he spending so much time working on that for that? So having a connected data approach. So all of our deliverables can be measured and maintained, and being able to give access to our project managers, our design managers, our operations managers. I think that's a way that we can utilize the data better. So I think we're beyond dipping our big toe in. I think we're probably up to our knees, but I think we've got a real big opportunity at the moment on a project where it's a client-side role where we are having that connected environment, a very simple, secure web-based environment, and to anyone that can click and be able to see how we're tracking at any given point on a project, tying back to where the suitability code revision on our deliverables, on our drawings or models or reports, then is linked back to a program, and then easily can visualize that. So that's making the most out of all the data that's been created on our project. It's the first that I've seen it, and it's a really exciting journey that I'm really keen to be part of within Arcadis. That was originally adopted on high-speed rail over in the HS2 over in the UK. So we're learning from that and incorporating those learnings into projects here.
I'm aware this data connectivity issue is a big problem for the industry, and I just wonder, from your point of view, what are the biggest barriers that are stopping us from achieving this seamless data connectivity across all projects and disciplines?
Look, I think there's a number of factors here. I think the biggest thing is education. Like, I think you've got to take time to invest early, right? And the only way you can to take time to invest early is to show what good can look like. That's the real hard bit, is to really convince the project directors, the project stakeholders that, look, just let us show what we can do here, but this is the benefit you're going to get here. One of the examples that I can provide relating to that comment is our commercial team using Oracle, all our commercial information here in Arcadis, to produce the reports that required for a particular client was taking 4 days to produce this particular report in the format that the client wanted to see it. We invested in a tool called Unify, which is a timesheet tool. So unfortunately, we now have to fill out 2 timesheets, which is a bit annoying if you work on projects. But that now has saved that commercial manager. He's now spending an hour, through development of integrating tools, working really closely with the vendor. We were able to connect the right type of data there. But again, that we had to have an early conversation with the project to say, we just need time to invest here with the vendor to be able to do this, but we're going to save you so much time down here. So I think that's if we can have paint the picture clearly of the benefits by investing early, I think that'll go a long way to show how we can make connected data just benefit all the stakeholders. And I guess it goes back to showing, hey, what problems you having what problems you're having. Hey, we can do this. This will help you. They've been just being able to empathize with people's problems and provide that type of solution.
Yeah, that's great. And you previously touched on the problem that sometimes people try to develop a tool in their own time to deliver a specific project. But one of the challenges we have is how do you decide which tools are the right fit, which tools should be scaled and which tools should just stay project specific? How do you make that decision?
Yeah, that's good. I think it is a challenge to us that we still have we have like 1,200 people within Australia. So I would imagine that there is tools being developed now, right? That we probably already have solutions for, right? But project pressures and everything else that happens, then we will have discussions with them later and say, look, that's a really good solution, but is this a scalable approach? And so all the tools that we develop, we try to have a scalable approach. It's not just solving that problem here. We'll build it in a way that could be scalable for other problems. That particular script to do noise wall calculations. Hey, let's just not do it for noise walls. That could be used for diaphragm walls, retaining walls, etc., etc. So it's not just solving one problem on post and pier. It could be solving a problem on different type of piling, etc., etc. So I think having a true scalable approach is important, and being able to. That goes back to the comment I made earlier. I've made it a few times. Is the accountability? Is that if we see people that want to be developers, we want to help them, right? We want to help them develop in the right way. So there's a lot of low code, no code development, which we call citizen development here and here within Arcadis. But I think if people want to learn hard coding, they want to become developers. They want to develop software. Then we've got a framework, and we want to help build that community as well. So we will help people build tools, but they then make that more visible to other people within Arcadis, so then they can use it.
And I'd like to change gear and think about the future of the role of the digital leader. And you, in your role, are at the intersection between the business and the software developers and the engineers. You're just this point that joins all the dots together. And you probably find yourself translating digital development into business language. What does that mean on the day-to-day activity?
Yeah, it's important because I think, as I mentioned earlier, that I work for a lot of different a lot of stakeholders within Arcadis, and they've all got their particular, the requirements for their roles. So our operations director has got a different requirement to a business leader. Our business leader's got a different requirement to sales and solutions. So to me, it's important to understand, how can I make their job easier? How can I make it easier for them to win that project, to deliver that project, to make it easier for reporting? So that's a big part of my job, is to make sure that I clearly understand what these problems that people are having, in particular to people's roles in the business. So I guess I change gears a lot during my day, and I think that's one of the things I do enjoy about my job, is the fact that I could be talking to a client, and then I could be talking to someone from global, then I could be talking to operations director, or I could be talking to a managing director, or I could be talking to our people advisor. But then I'm trying to understand these particular problems or solutions, and then being able to join dots as well, bring these people closer together. So I think a big part of this is, I guess in a word, empathizing. Really understanding how can it do their job more easier at Arcadis.
And we are close to the end, but I just have one more question, which is, if you think about the new generations, and what advice would you give to future digital leaders that are trying to drive the change inside a large organization?
This thing when I talk to all the grads is ask lots of questions, and take advantage of what organizations have. I think that's one thing that I don't think we do this well as an organization. We don't show everyone at Arcadis what exactly we have access to in terms of our technology, our vendors, globally, people, our experience on projects. We don't seem to beat our chest a lot about what we actually have. So I guess, we want the younger generation to be coming in saying, I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to be part of that. How can you help me do this? I don't think that's the right way to do that, Steve. It's like, cool, okay, let's go. Let's get together and have a chat about that. So being inquisitive, challenging, and just taking advantage of all the investments that organizations have made. And be that annoying person. Say, I want to go to that client meeting with you. I had an undergrad that started, who's still at Arcadis now as a very good engineer, who does a lot of stuff in the digital space. And I remember he was always constantly knocking on the door to come to Arcadis, and he came as a undergrad, and he came to a client meeting on City Metro, and that first client meeting on his first day blew him away, like absolutely blew him away. And he's like, I want to be a digital engineer. I want to be solving these problems. So we need more people like that.
Yeah, that's great. And if people want to reach out to you, where can they find you?
Cool. So look, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm more than happy if people want to contact on my work email, which is stephen.coyle@arcadis.com.
And thank you. We are at the end of the episode. And Stephen,
Awesome.
Your take on digital transformation is refreshingly honest. It's been really great hearing about how your team as Arcadis is redefining what digital leadership means. Thanks for joining us on the Digital Construction Podcast.
Pleasure. Thank you very much. Great questions.